Good morning again, and welcome to Now Drawing Atoms. So this is primarily for grade 8s, but obviously sometimes in grade 9 you also need to know how to draw an atom, and it's nice for maybe grade 10s, just reminding yourself on how to draw an atom so you can do those Aufbau diagrams and Lewis structures. So for grade 8s, you will probably definitely get asked to draw an atom in your cycle test or exams. So this is just a review on how to do that. Okay, so first thing we got to look at is your periodic table. This is the stuff that you should mainly know from learning the periodic table in term 2 in grade 8 and obviously in term 2 in grade 9. So just depending on what periodic table your teacher has used and such. So remember, this is a group. Groups go down and periods go across. So please just remember that. Okay. Remember that everything to the left-hand side is a metal, everything to the right is a non-metal, and everything touching the metalloid pathway is a semi-metal. The name for that is actually a metalloid, not a semi-metal, but a lot of teachers do allow semi-metals to be said. So just make sure you are understanding on how a periodic table is being used so that when you get to a test, you can use your periodic table to be able to identify which element you're looking at and what is going on. This is the periodic table you should get in every test. This is the one from the government. This is the one you should be getting from grade 8 to matric. So make sure you familiarized yourself with this. Obviously, they have the group numbers on them. They have each little tag. This is called a tag. It's got the symbol. It's got a number at the top, a number at the bottom, and sometimes they have a number on the side. That number on the side we only use from grade 10, and they're called the electronegativities, but in grade 8 and 9 we don't have to worry about that. So this is the periodic table you should get. You need to be able to identify what is the top number and what is the bottom number. Sometimes you might not get given the periodic table and they will just give you a tag, which is this thing here in the square. That's a tag, okay? And you will have to identify what the top and the bottom number are. One is always bigger than the other. I will explain this just now. But these are the first 20 elements. In grade 8, you have to learn all first 20. You need to learn their name and their symbol. Spelling counts. It's one of the only time that spelling counts in natural science. So please make sure that you are spelling them correctly. The only exception is here for sulfur. You can substitute an F. We do accept that. But please make sure that you are spelling them correctly. First 20 in grade 8, and then in grade 9, the first 20 plus the extras. These are the extras I always give my learners. Obviously, some teachers might be a little bit different, but these are the first 20 that I give mine because they're the ones that we use all the time. So in grade 9, please also learn these, but do also listen to your teacher on which ones they prefer you to also learn. Okay, so remember symbols and names. Then this is a tag. So this is what you will get from the periodic table. Okay, and remember, you will get a smaller number and you will get a bigger number. Please don't learn it top bottom. Do not learn top number, bottom number. That will not fly in grade 10. Okay, so please learn it small number, big number. The small number is always the atomic number, okay, is always the atomic number, and the big number is always the atomic mass. So mass is always bigger, okay? So learn it, small number, big number. The atomic mass is always the big number, okay? This over here is your symbol. So this is what you will always get on the periodic table. It's the symbol. It doesn't always match the name. So like this is sodium, okay? Back in the day when Greek and Latin were the spoken languages, Na was an element and it used to be called nastrium, so that's why it's Na, but now in English we call it sodium. So this would then be its name and this would then be its symbol, and they don't always match. It's not SO, that's not the symbol. Na is sodium. So please do make sure you make that connection. Sometimes obviously it does match, like for carbon with C, but sometimes it doesn't. Okay, so this is called a tag, and from the tag you can gather information like the atomic number, the atomic mass, and the symbol. Okay, it's just telling you that it's in group 1, it's in group period 3. Again, things you should have learned already. Okay, so from sodium, we need to be able to identify what is going on in this atom. And we can do that by looking at the tag from the periodic table using these numbers. These numbers help us to identify where or how many protons, neutrons, and electrons there are. Okay, these things are called subatomic particles. Okay, subatomic particles. Protons, you can use a P with a plus as the symbol. Electrons is an E and a minus, and neutrons is an N with a 0. Those are the symbols for protons, neutrons, and electrons. You need to be able to calculate how many protons, neutrons, and electrons each atom has to be able to then draw it. You cannot draw an atom without identifying how many protons, neutrons, and electrons there are. Okay, protons and electrons are really easy. Protons and electrons is just the atomic number. Both of them are the atomic number. Okay, and we know the atomic number for sodium, if you looked at the previous one, would be 11. So there are 11 protons in sodium, and obviously then 11 electrons in sodium. These two numbers are always going to be the same when you're drawing the atoms in grade 8 and 9. Only in grade 10, 11, and 12 do we start talking about the electrons changing, but in grade 8 and 9, these two numbers are going to be the same. And they always equal the smaller number on the periodic table, and they will equal each other, okay? Neutrons, slightly different. For the neutrons, you have to take the atomic mass, okay, which is 23 for sodium, and you need to minus the atomic number, which for sodium is 11. So 23 minus 11 is equal to 12 neutrons. The reason for this, you don't need to know this for an exam, but the reason for this is because inside a nucleus, let's pretend this is your nucleus, there are protons and neutrons. So together, the protons and neutrons equal the 23, the mass. Okay, so protons and neutrons is what gives an atom its mass together, the nucleus. And inside this nucleus, we have protons and neutrons. And if protons is equal to 11, then what is 23 minus 11? 12. And that's how we get the 12. You can just learn it, big minus small gives you 12, or you can actually understand the science behind it, that inside a nucleus are protons and neutrons, and that is what gives an atom its mass. So we need to take the mass, we need to minus the number of protons to be able to find out how many neutrons there are. Now that we have the 11 protons, 11 electrons, and 12 neutrons, we can start drawing an atom. Okay, so we have this information. Let's go into the details. So for protons, I know I have 11. For electrons, I know that I have 11. For neutrons, I know that I have 12. I just worked that out. This is not for marks. You do not need to show this to get the marks. Okay, you're going to put this on your diagram. But I just need to explain something a little bit. So we said that inside an atom is a nucleus. The nucleus is then has protons and neutrons. I do it like this. Sometimes some teachers will actually go and draw the individual atoms, protons and neutrons in like this. I find it too time consuming. I don't like doing that. I like to just split it and write protons in one side and neutrons in the other. Perfectly fine. It doesn't matter if you do it this way. You're still going to get the marks for telling me how many protons and neutrons. Okay, so we have this nucleus. The nucleus consists of protons and neutrons. Okay, once we have this nucleus, we then need to decide, okay, in real life, atoms don't look like circles. They actually have these things called s orbitals, and they have these things called p orbitals. We only go up to s's and p's in high school. So in real life, atoms actually look like this with s's and p's going all over the place. Okay, but to look at this, it's very confusing. We cannot identify what is going on and where am I going to put the little electrons? We don't know. So we don't draw it like this. This is not how we draw it. We don't draw it as it is in real life. we like to draw it as a model, okay? So we have to identify what parts of the atom need to be in that model. So obviously we need protons, neutrons, and electrons. We need a nucleus because you need to show me where the protons and neutrons are, but then we also need a place for where these electrons exist. And where these electrons exist, we call them energy levels, not orbitals. We call them energy levels. There are 3 energy levels that we learn about in grade 8 and 9. Grade 10, you'll learn a little bit more, but in grade 8 and 9, we only deal with 3 energy levels. So we have the nucleus, and surrounding the nucleus are energy levels, and we just draw them as circles. Okay, you can use your compass if you want, but in a test, there's maybe not enough time, so just draw them as circles. On these energy levels, okay, remember this is your nucleus, so this is not an energy level, this is a nucleus. On these energy levels is where these electrons exist. So we need to understand how they exist in real life, and we need to portray that on a model, on a diagram like this, okay? So in real life, this one here, this one closest to the nucleus, that is your energy level 1. On this energy level 1, we know this is not made up. We don't make this up. This is in real life. In real life, on this energy level, we can only have 2 electrons. That's the maximum. I can have 1 or I can have 2. But once I get to 2, I need to move to energy level 2 to then fill in more electrons. Okay? And on energy level 2, I can have 8 electrons. I can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, but I can't do 9. Once I go to a 9th one, I then have to move on to energy level 3, and energy level 3 can have 8 electrons. Okay? This is how it is in real life. It's not something that we've made up to make your life more difficult. In real life, energy level 1 has 2 electrons, energy level 2 can have 8, and energy level 3 can have 8. You cannot move up an energy level until you have maximized the number of electrons per energy level. Okay, so let's start. Let's do this one. So diagram of sodium. We know that sodium's protons is equal to 11. We know its electrons is equal to 11, and we know its neutrons is equal to 12. We know energy level 1 can only have 2, energy level 2 can only have 8 electrons, and energy level 3 can only have 8 electrons. First thing we're going to do, remember, we have a heading. Heading underlined in pen with a blue pen, print, okay? Heading, for me, I would generally give a mark for the heading, okay? Diagram of a sodium atom. Diagram showing a sodium atom, okay? First thing we do is we draw the nucleus. We are not marking whether you can draw a perfectly round circle, so draw a nucleus. So that's your nucleus. I then half it. Listen to your teacher. Maybe she likes you to draw the individual little dots, but I don't. So here's your nucleus. On one of the halves, it doesn't matter which half, on one of the halves, write your 11 protons. You can either say 11p or 11 plus, whatever you need, but you need to tell me that this 11 is for protons because the 12 is for neutrons. Okay, 1 mark for 11 protons, 1 mark for 12 neutrons. So far, you got 3 marks. Okay. And this is why you don't get marks for calculating here. You get the marks here to show me that you did already calculate. Okay, so then I know I'm going to use all 3 energy levels, so I'm going to draw all 3. But if you know you're not going to use all 3, you don't have to draw all 3. Okay, I know I'm going to use all 3, so I'm going to draw all 3. So those are my 3 energy levels. Okay, we know energy level 1 is in the middle, energy level 2, and then energy level 3 on the outside. So I'm just going to label this, bring this out a little bit more. This is nucleus, okay? Then I'm going to label this neutron, and then I'm going to label this protons, proton, okay? You can label energy level 1, 2, and 3 if you want by now, but I just want to make sure that we're doing this first. Okay, so now we've done protons and neutrons. Great. Now we've got to work on electrons. Remember, energy level 1 can only have 2. I have 11 electrons, so I started with 11. I'm going to use 2 on energy level 1. They do like to be opposite each other. So 1 there and 1 there. I'm sure in grade 8 and 9, your teacher also doesn't mind if you make them next to each other. We're just testing whether you can actually draw an atom. So it doesn't matter if you draw them next to, but I like to draw them how they are in real life. They like to be opposite each other. So I had 11, I used 8. I now have 9 left, okay? How many can go on energy level 2? Okay, 8 can go on energy level 2. I have 9, but only 8 can go. So I'm going to draw them. 1, 2. They like to be in pairs, and they like to be opposite each other, okay? So that is now my 8, okay? So I used 8. I now have 1 left. So that means the 1 must go on energy level 3, like that. Okay, so energy level 1 had the 2 electrons. Energy level 2 can have 8. It does have 8. And energy level 3, I only had 1 left, so I only drew the 1. I don't put 8 just because it can have 8. I only had 1 left, so I'm going to draw the 1. And then I'm going to label this electrons. Okay? So you need to make sure you are drawing the heading. You're going to do your protons and your neutrons. You have the 1 mark for the correct number of electrons being on the correct energy levels. And then maybe your teacher might give a mark for nucleus or a proton. They might even give you a mark for labeling energy level 1, energy level 2, energy level 3. You might get marks for that. So sometimes this is out of 5, sometimes it's out of 8. It just depends on what your teacher has given you. So this is where the main marks are: your heading, your correct number of electrons, protons, and neutrons, and then 2 or 3 marks for the labels. Maybe you also get a mark for making sure that it's done in pencil and the labels are done in pen. You might get a mark for that, just depending on what your teacher's giving you marks for. Okay, so this is the basis of how to draw an atom. You first have to identify which element it is on the periodic table. Then you have to figure out what is the atomic number, what is the atomic mass. Remember, atomic mass is always the big number. Atomic number is always the small number. We then identify what the protons, neutrons, and electrons are. And once we've done that, we can then go into drawing your atom. Okay, let's go do another one. So here's carbon. Carbon on the periodic table is 6 and 12. Okay, so remember, protons is equal to the small number. Electrons is equal to the small number. And neutrons is equal to the big number minus the small number, which in this case is 6. So luckily for us, all of them happen to be 6. First thing you do is you write your heading, diagram showing carbon atom. Then we draw our nucleus. Inside our nucleus, we have 6 protons and 6 neutrons. I'll give a mark, give a mark. Then the energy levels. I know I'm only going to use 2 energy levels, so I'm only going to draw 2 energy levels. If you draw 3, you're not going to minus a mark. You're not going to lose a mark for drawing 3, okay? But I know I'm only going to do 2, so I'm only going to draw 2. I have 6 electrons. Remember, 2 electrons can go on energy level 1. 6 minus 2 is 4, so that means 4 can go on energy level 2, like that. You can draw them opposites. You can draw them all next to each other. It doesn't matter. Your teacher is going to give you a mark for the correct number of electrons on each energy level. Okay? The last thing you need to do is you need to make sure that you're labeling your nucleus. You need to make sure that you're labeling your protons. You need to make sure that you're labeling your neutrons. Remember, these lines must be done with a ruler. Okay? You need to know that you're labeling your electrons. Okay? And then obviously you can label energy level 1, energy level 2. Please don't label them just 1 and 2. Write energy level. And then maybe they might ask you to identify what is the nucleon, okay, things like that, but that's all your theory part of this. Okay, last one, let's try a neon. Neon is Ne on the periodic table, neon, and neon is a 10 and a 20. So remember, protons is equal to the small number. electrons is equal to the small number, and neutrons is big minus small, and in this case, again, they are all 10. Okay, so again, you're going to draw a heading with underlined in pen with, what is it, not cursive, you're going to do print. Okay, then again, you start with the nucleus in the middle. Inside my nucleus, I have 10 protons for 1 mark. I have 10 neutrons for 1 mark. Then I know I'm going to use 2 energy levels, so I'm going to draw 2 energy levels. On each of those energy levels, I know that on energy level 1, I can only have 2 electrons. Energy level 2, I can only have 8 electrons. I have 10, so I'm going to put 2 on energy level 1, and 10 minus 2 is 8, so then I'm going to put all 8 on energy level 2. Okay, and that would actually mean that energy level 2 has a full number of electrons. There's no extra electrons to spare. Okay, so again, you're going to label your nucleus, you're going to label your protons, you're going to label your neutrons, you're going to label your electrons, energy level 1, you're going to label energy level 2, okay? So make sure that you're labeling correctly, make sure you're using a ruler, and that your label lines all meet up in one place, and that your labels are in pen. Okay, so make sure you're also following all of the diagram rules with this. I hope this has helped a little bit, and I hope you get those extra couple of marks. Thank you. Bye.